So last season, Aston Villa beat Arsenal on 2 occasions. Some are suggesting one of those defeats might have cost Arsenal the title. They lost by 2 points, but it's hard to put it on any game. But certainly Villa had the measure of Arsenal. So there's a lot of tension on this game. Unai Emery, a former Arsenal manager, who's got his team very well set up. We saw him play against West Ham first day. Pretty impressive, depth of squad. I think we both felt this game was going to be a good test and a good chance to have a good look at both these teams in a high-class fixture. I thought the first half was fascinating despite not getting goals, and the second half I thought was the exhibit why Arsenal will believe they can run Man City close to a title this season.
And how they've grown, Rob. Now they've grown. Can you remember, maybe it's 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, there was times when Arsenal got blown away by some teams, and when things started to go wrong, they went under a little bit. There was no durability there to the team. My goodness. I mean, we saw that, didn't we, in bundles in the second half of the game.
Just on that resilience, because I was thinking about it and listening last night. Does some of that resilience come through a bigger belief about the group now, Rob, or is that learned? Is that over time? Okay, remember that.
I think they harden. I think players harden over time. Young players harden over time. I mean, they've got tremendous experience of going close to winning the Premier League title, all of their ambitions and dreams, and they've been knocked down once pretty badly a couple of seasons ago, and last year really close. So I think back to maybe it is confidence. We can go close. We've made some good additions. We're about to make, I think, another addition in midfield possibly. We're stronger now. Players that came start last season, Declan Rice and Kai Havertz, have found their best spots. We feel we're better, and I just thought and the defenders, Rob, I mean, some of those challenges and some of the reaction from them, with Saliba particularly made a challenge late on, there was quite the determination there to win, to protect their lead when they got it. And wow, I thought it was really, really impressive and a strong, not even a statement, but a message to everybody else. We can go to Villa Park on the opening day of the season, by the way, for them at home, first home game. We know that place is big atmosphere.
It's going to be a difficult place.
That was a huge win, I thought.
It was a huge win. I think it was a win that will give them confidence, belief in what they're doing. I think the manager they had to tough it out with Aston Villa. They had to come through a few moments, and I want to get to one of those in particular. And I think you're right. I think the squad, depth of squad, people coming in the team, competition for places is something that's going to be interesting. Again, I want to get your thoughts on that. I'm going to go to the incident in the second half. It was the first half when David Raya pulls off one of the saves of the season. Second half it was actually, wasn't it? It was the second half of Ollie Watkins. He'd missed the chance in the first half when he
had another chance in the second half.
Early in the second half. And Ona has a shot that's deflected. Goalkeeper David Raya is going back towards his goal, jumps in the air, it hits the ball and comes down. Ollie Watkins is right in a great spot, thinks he's got his first Premier League goal of the season, heads it with power towards the goal. Whether it's too close or not to the goalkeeper is not the argument in what I'm saying. The reaction, the ability of David Raya to go from his knees to propel himself to his left to get a strong hand and get it out of the way of the goal, I'll tell you now, will be save of the season. I'll tell you right now, it'll be save of the season, mate. And just let me finish on David Raya. At 1-0 up against Wolves last week, Strand Larsen had a header from 6 yards out. The game's very different if it goes to 1-1 and Wolves are back in it. David Raya last week picked up the PFA Goalkeeper of the Year. And people were a little bit sceptical. 16 clean sheets.
Golden Glove last year, wasn't it? 2
already this season. He's not a star of this team, but he's becoming an important element of this Arsenal side.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the save off of his knee, wasn't it, to try and it happened so quickly. But the reaction from knowing the ball's still in play to kind of getting ready to face that, and how bad a miss. If you're Ollie Watkins,
I'm thinking I should have scored.
It's right here, boom. And he's done his best. I mean, he just didn't get it wide enough. Because do you expect the goalkeeper to jump up like that? So it's a brilliant save. And I'll tell you what, just quickly on Raya, I was of the thought of is he that much better than Aaron Ramsdale? Is he that much better? But I think he looked a little nervy at the start with his Arsenal, kind of switching him into the side. But maybe him, like others, are growing. They're growing in confidence. They're growing in experience. They're trusted by the manager, which is a massive difference, by the way. When we were playing, if you had a manager that trusted you and you knew that he liked you, what he did, it made a big difference. So,
but
there's many big moments. That's a big moment.
Just quickly on that one, because I know you want to move on, but again, isn't that got to be down to Michelotto? He made a change. He brought in David Raya when most of us were going, what's he doing?
Yeah.
There's not much between him and Ramsdale.
Well, there wasn't.
And there wasn't, but it looks like a decision that's come right. And
we'll never know, Rob, if Ramsdale's in goal.
We will never
He makes a lot of saves.
We are where we are.
We are where we are. And he had a big game. Just other people, Rob, just other things in the game and stuff. Like, Urin Timber was another player that we pointed at in the show. Something different. This is different. Like Calafiori, we know is a new signing. We saw him later in the game. I think he's going to be a fun player to watch in this team. But Urin Timber, for his first game in there, really, as a starting player from a left back, I thought he was good. I thought he was really good. He tied at the end. He's super neat and tidy on the ball. He's stronger. And there was one moment. Who was it running? Was it I think it was Bailey running it very quickly, or was it Rogers?
Down that side,
and he defended pretty well in a difficult situation. So I think that is an interesting thing to do and to mention. And I'll go back to the captain, Robin. I know, that the headlines will be Trossard and maybe Saka involvement, but the through ball from Odegaard, it does not happen if Martin Odegaard doesn't play that clever reverse ball.
The reverse ball.
And anybody out there who's listening or watching this will know that there was a great ball he made earlier to Saka who failed to score. Did he try and cross it, or he pulled it back? But those clever little balls in behind are everything. They're everything, because anybody can knock it around and try. But those clever little balls that make it in behind, and there was a little bit of fortune towards the goal as Rogers put it into his path. But that doesn't happen if that ball's not played in behind.
Correct.
So Odegaard, wow, I like what he did, and it was a impressive, solid victory.
Not that this is going to be an issue because of what I saw, but I want to go to a place with you on Arsenal in terms of Trossard came on for Martinelli. Martinelli's not in his best form at the moment, but offers pace and offers threat. But we've seen better Martinellis. Zinchenko had a face that you said was like a smack something or the other. It is an English phrase which I won't use, but was obviously unhappy.
Yeah, he looked a bit unhappy. Yeah.
Competition for places is important in successful teams. Will people have to accept some of that moving forward? Trossard actually didn't celebrate his goal and actually went out and said it was because he wants to be in the first team and he reacted in the right way. Manager's okay with that. Is that something that will have to be managed? Does the sexual group deal with that in the way?
I think the players in our day, the group would have a laugh about it. We'd all be miserable, miserable, and take the mick out of Trossard where he scored, right? The manager, if it does get a little bit more heated or more
Feels
than that, we'll have to deal with it. This is the highest level, Rob. I expect Arteta to deal with it. And by the way, I don't think it's a problem right now. It's not a problem.
No, it isn't a problem.
There's one thing you expect as a manager at a club like that, and with those sort of players, is that people are going to be unhappy. It's been forever that players get fed up when they're not playing. But it does help when you're in a team that's got a good chance of winning the title, and you could be there at the end of the season with a medal around your neck, instead of a team that's in the bottom half of the league and you're still not in the side and they're rubbish and I can't get in the team. What's going on? Knock on the door. So I thought if there's one way to protest, I don't mind that.
And then when you get the shirt, you've got to produce because the pressure's on you.
Well, that's what the manager's going to say. And he can say, I've done it now. And he has got an argument, by the way. He scored more goals than Martinelli last year. He was more reliable. He came up with big moments. And I think that Rob, when we all do pre-season, and this is for all players, you work your socks off in pre-season. You play the pre-season games. Who's the manager thinking? Who started in that game, which looks like a really important game? God, it wasn't me. It was him. So Trossard, when he gets the first team sheet, and now it's like, I didn't make it. After what I did last year, I didn't make it. I just wonder, Rob, if and maybe this is the last thing before we move on with them, is Trossard going to force his way? Is he going to force his way in because he's simply a better option as a left forward now than Martinelli?
Yeah, it's possible, and form and goals and things will tell you. Whether he goes back to Martinelli, gives him one more look and almost go, okay, and if it doesn't work, we'll see Trossard, and Trossard will get one. Similar thing happened last season, didn't it? Trossard came in for a period and started to play a little bit more regular.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's going to be. I mean, the left-back spot's interested with Timber, with Calafiori.
Looks good. Calafiori looks good.
Zinchenko, when you've got possession, might play certain games, but a lot of football to play. You're going to need a lot of players, importantly, stay on side.
Right. There's two teams in this game, by the way, and if it wasn't for, there could be a very different outcome to this game. Ollie Watkins had two brilliant. I mean, he's the player that's going to go into early next week, frustrated. Because they were amazing chances. It could have been a very, very different game. We liked Aston Villa, Rob, on week 1. We saw them again. That's why it was so exciting to see these matchups, because wow, Villa are really, really good, and Arsenal. So that's what makes it more impressive. Now, there's one player, Rob, that we both, to be fair, I've jumped on this guy as my underappreciated performer, one to watch for sure for Aston Villa, and we both picked him out early. In fact, we picked him out last year because he comes from my old club, Middlesbrough.
Where all the great footballers
grow and become, amazing players. Morgan Rogers. Now, I'm going to pause because this is an I feel strong. This is a big. His performance from last year and in this game and what we're seeing from this guy.
And what we saw last week, by the way.
And what we saw, it's a little bit right?
Yeah.
Jaw drop a little bit. I was saying today, Rob, messing around in the studio between games, he could be an incredible. Now I know Villa are doing great things, but if you're the biggest clubs in Europe, watching him develop last year and watching him play in this game in last week, it's like, wow, that's special. Yeah. I heard another pundit on the radio. Who was it? Was it Jamie Redknapp or was it somebody else? Lightened him a little bit to Jude Bellingham type of player.
I know, exactly the
and that's
same
an incredible comparison. So Morgan Rogers, anybody out there who didn't see this game, or next time you watch Villa, this guy is big. He's got a great engine, good frame, strong, skillful. Makes great decisions on the ball, when to release it, when to dribble. He turned Thomas Partey 10 times in the game.
England under 21 international.
Yeah, he's 22 now. He is.
I guarantee you he'll be in the England squad within the next 6 months.
I mean, if he's not in the next England squad, and there's one's coming up.
The coach was there, wasn't he?
Lee Carsley, the interim England manager.
At the game,
so can you add to that? I mean, what a talent.
19 years of age, has got all the attributes.
He's 22, Morgan Rogers.
Sorry, $19 million.
Right.
It's an incredible business from the
championship. There's players out there,
which stands to Aston Villa's recruitment and scouting network, and he's out there for everybody. And Aston Villa took the gamble, and now we're seeing why they took the gamble. And this young man, along with others, I think is the future. And under Unai Emery, Rob, with Onana, with Tielemans.
Yeah, Tielemans played well, I thought.
There's a group of players, there's a nice mix of young players there who, I know you're saying maybe to Liverpool, but if Aston Villa are ambitious, they give him a big contract and say 5 years, and then they say, right, you're part of the future. Yeah, so Villa fans out there, whether we've tilted towards Arsenal there, maybe it was a big result for them, but please don't think that we don't think a lot of Aston Villa. Aston Villa were excellent. I thought it was an excellent game. It was for a large period of that game. It was pretty tight. Unai Emery said after the game that he obviously he didn't like losing and just felt that Arsenal's length of time together and understanding of what they were doing was a little bit more than theirs, and that won them in the end. Yeah.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And if you want even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.